Hello everyone, welcome to the Mysterious Stories channel, where you'll discover the most mysterious, scary, and fascinating stories. Make sure to turn up the volume and get ready for a spine-chilling experience you won't forget. Group of mercenaries is hired for a secret mission in Europe. Their task is to infiltrate an abandoned Nazi bunker rumored to contain mysterious and powerful artifacts. The area is extremely dangerous, located on the borders of active war zones. The group of 8 mercenaries gathered in a dimly lit, smoke-filled room of an old tavern in the heart of a neutral European town. The atmosphere was tense, filled with the mixed sense of sweat, beer, and anticipation. The men sat around a worn wooden table, each one bearing the marks of their varied backgrounds and experiences. John Harris, the leader, broke the silence. "All right, men, we've got a job. High stakes, high rewards. We need to retrieve something from an old Nazi bunker deep in enemy territory." Viktor Petrov, a burly Russian, grunted. "What exactly are we looking for?" "A powerful artifact," John replied. "One that could change the course of the war. Our employer believes it's still hidden in that bunker." Pierre Dubois, the Frenchman, leaned back in his chair, his face a mask of skepticism. "And who exactly is our employer?" A tall, shadowy figure stepped forward from a dark corner of the room. It was their contact, known only as Mr. Black. He wore a long coat and a hat that obscured most of his face. "I represent interests that prefer to remain anonymous," Mr. Black said in a low, gravelly voice. "But rest assured, the payment will be substantial. You are to leave at dawn." He placed a large, leather-bound folder on the table. "All the details you need are in here. Maps, entry points, and the location of the artifact within the bunker." Klaus Muller, the German, reached for the folder but hesitated. "What's the catch?" Mr. Black's eyes, the only visible part of his face, seemed to pierce through each man in the room. "The bunker is said to be haunted. Soldiers who ventured there never returned. You'll need more than just firepower. You'll need courage and wits." Luca Rossi, the Italian, scoffed. "Ghost stories won't scare us, we're professionals." Finn O'Connor, the Irishman, nodded. We've faced worse." Miguel Torres from Spain and Eric Svensson from Sweden remained silent, their expressions unreadable. Mr. Black smiled thinly. "Good. Remember, leave no traces and trust no one. The enemy is the least of your worries." As the men left the tavern to prepare for their mission, a sense of unease settled over them. The promise of wealth and glory was enticing, but the ominous warnings lingered in their minds. The next morning, the team assembled at the rendezvous point outside the town. Each man was fully geared, their weapons and supplies meticulously checked. The journey to the bunker was long and perilous, requiring them to navigate through treacherous terrain and avoid enemy patrols. John Harris took the lead, his keen eye scanning the surroundings. "Stay sharp, everyone, we can't afford any mistakes." The first day was uneventful, but the weight of the mission bore heavily on them. They camped in a secluded forest, setting up a perimeter to keep watch. The night was eerily quiet, save for the distant sounds of artillery and gunfire echoing through the air. As they huddled around a small fire, Klaus Muller shared a tale he'd heard about the bunker. "They say the spirits of fallen Nazi soldiers still guard the place, unwilling to let go of their twisted duty." Viktor Petrov shrugged. "Ghosts or not, we have a job to do. Let's get some rest. Tomorrow, we face the unknown." The men nodded in agreement, though the flickering flames cast shadows that seemed to dance and whisper, hinting at the horrors that awaited them in the haunted bunker. The next morning, the team set out early, their nerves steeled for the challenges ahead. The path grew rougher as they approached the outskirts of the enemy territory. The thick forest gradually gave way to desolate, war-torn landscapes, the scars of battle evident all around. By late afternoon, they finally reached the outskirts of the abandoned Nazi bunker. It was a massive, foreboding structure, partially hidden by overgrown vegetation and surrounded by crumbling remnants of barbed wire and fortifications. The air was thick with an oppressive silence, broken only by the distant rumble of artillery. John Harris raised his hand, signaling the group to halt. "We made it. Keep your eyes open and stay close." The team spread out, forming a perimeter around the bunker entrance. Viktor Petrov and Klaus Muller took the lead, cautiously approaching the heavy steel doors. With a groan, the doors creaked open, revealing a dark, musty interior. "All right, let's move in," John ordered, his voice low and steady. Inside, the bunker was a labyrinth of narrow corridors and dimly lit rooms. The walls were covered in peeling paint and old propaganda posters, remnants of a bygone era. The air was stale, carrying the faint scent of decay. Pierre Dubois, with his keen eye for detail, noticed strange symbols etched into the walls. These markings, they're not just for decoration. They might be part of some kind of ritual. Luca Rossi, always the skeptic, scoffed. "Rituals or not, let's find that artifact and get out of here." As they ventured deeper into the bunker, the atmosphere grew colder and more oppressive. Faint whispers seemed to echo through the corridors, making it hard to tell if they were real or just the product of overactive imaginations. In one of the larger chambers, they found an old, dusty crate marked with the Nazi insignia. Eric Svensson pried it open, revealing a collection of strange artifacts and documents. Among them was a small, intricately carved box. "This must be it," John said, carefully lifting the box. "Let's secure the area and set up camp for the night. We can't risk traveling in the dark." As dusk fell, the team fortified their position inside the bunker, setting up a makeshift camp in one of the larger rooms. They posted guards at the entrances, ensuring they would be alerted to any movement. The night was tense, filled with an unsettling quiet. Each man felt a growing sense of unease, as if they were being watched by unseen eyes. The shadows seemed to shift and move, playing tricks on their minds. Around midnight, a chilling wind swept through the bunker, extinguishing their lanterns and plunging them into darkness. Strange noises echoed through the corridors, the creak of old metal, the faint sound of footsteps, and a distant, mournful wail. Miguel Torres, who was on guard duty, whispered to Finn O'Connor, "Did you hear that? It sounds like someone's walking around." Finn nodded, his face pale. "I don't like this. We need to be on high alert." Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream pierced the silence, coming from deep within the bunker. The team sprang to their feet, weapons at the ready. John Harris barked orders, trying to maintain control. "Everyone stay together. We need to find out what's happening." As they navigated the dark corridors, the sense of dread grew stronger. They stumbled upon a room that looked like a makeshift barracks, filled with old, rotting bunk beds. In the center of the room stood a spectral figure, dressed in a tattered Nazi uniform, its hollow eyes glowing with an eerie light. The ghostly figure raised a hand, pointing directly at them. A chill ran down their spines as it spoke in a hollow, echoing voice. "Leave this place. You are not welcome here." The team backed away, their courage wavering. Klaus Muller, shaken but resolute, fired his weapon at the apparition, but the bullets passed through it harmlessly. "We need to get out of here," Eric Svensson said, his voice trembling. John Harris nodded, his face grim. "We'll regroup and find another way out in the morning. For now, we hold our ground." They returned to their makeshift camp, the sense of foreboding stronger than ever. The night was filled with restless whispers and ghostly apparitions, haunting their every move. As dawn approached, they knew they had to make a decision. The mission had become far more dangerous than they had anticipated, and the line between the living and the dead had blurred in that cursed bunker. Day 3. Deeper into the haunted bunker. The following morning, the team awoke with a renewed sense of determination despite the unnerving events of the previous night. They knew they had to delve deeper into the bunker to find the artifact and complete their mission. With their gear packed and weapons at the ready, they ventured further into the labyrinth in structure. As they navigated the dark, narrow corridors, the atmosphere grew heavier with each step. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the walls seemed to close in on them. Strange symbols and eerie markings adorned the passageways, adding to the sense of dread. Pierre Dubois led the way, his flashlight casting long shadows on the walls. "We need to stay focused. Keep your eyes open for anything unusual." The team pressed on, their nerves frayed but their resolve unbroken. In the dim light, they discovered rooms filled with remnants of the past, old uniforms, rusted weapons, and faded photographs of soldiers long gone. Each discovery added to the oppressive weight of history that seemed to hang in the air. In one particularly dark and foreboding chamber, they found what appeared to be a command center. A large, ornate desk dominated the room, and behind it, an old map of Europe was pinned to the wall, marked with strategic points and battle lines. Eric Svensson's eyes were drawn to a dusty, leather-bound book on the desk. He carefully opened it, revealing handwritten notes and diagrams. "This looks like a journal. It might tell us more about what happened here." As Eric read aloud, the team listened intently. The journal detailed the experiences of a Nazi officer who had been stationed at the bunker. His entries grew increasingly paranoid and frantic, describing strange occurrences and sightings of ghostly figures. The final entry spoke of an artifact of great power, hidden deep within the bunker, and a warning to anyone who sought it. Luca Rossi scoffed, "So they were afraid of ghosts too. Figures." Ignoring Luca's skepticism, John Harris turned to the team. "We need to find that artifact and get out of here. Stay alert." As they ventured deeper, the corridors became more twisted and disorienting. The oppressive silence was broken only by the sound of their footsteps and the occasional distant rumble of artillery. They could feel eyes watching them, and the shadows seemed to move of their own accord. In a hidden alcove, they finally found what they had been searching for, a small, intricately carved box, covered in strange symbols. John carefully picked it up, a sense of unease washing over him. "We've got it," he said, his voice low. "Let's get out of here." The journey back to their extraction point was fraught with tension. As they retraced their steps, the bunker seemed even more sinister. Faint whispers and ghostly apparitions haunted their every move, and the air grew colder with each passing moment. As they neared the entrance, a sudden, chilling scream echoed through the corridors. The team spun around, weapons at the ready, but saw nothing. Their nerves were on edge, and fear gnawed at their resolve. They finally emerged from the bunker into the cold, gray light of dawn. The sense of relief was palpable, but their ordeal was far from over. They still had to make it to the extraction point, a journey that would take them through several war-torn battlefields. As they moved cautiously through the devastated landscape, the horrors of war were evident all around them: destroyed tanks, craters from artillery shells, and the remnants of once thriving villages. The team felt a growing sense of unease, as if they were being watched by unseen eyes. As night fell, they set up a temporary camp, but their rest was short-lived. Ghostly figures appeared in the distance, flickering in and out of sight. The team could hear the faint sounds of battle gunfire, explosions, and the anguished cries of soldiers. Miguel Torres whispered to Finn O'Connor, "It's like the war never ended here. We're in the middle of a ghostly battlefield." Finn nodded, his face pale. "We need to keep moving, we can't stay here." The team pressed on, their journey fraught with peril. As they neared the extraction point, they encountered more ghostly apparitions, soldiers from different eras, locked in eternal combat. The air was thick with the stench of fear and death, and their nerves were frayed to the breaking point. Finally, they reached the extraction point, where their contact awaited with a sense of urgency. The team was exhausted and haunted by the horrors they had witnessed, but they had completed their mission. John Harris handed over the artifact, his hands trembling. "We did it, but at what cost?" As the team boarded the transport, they knew that the haunted memories of their journey would stay with them forever. The line between the living and the dead had blurred, and they had glimpsed the true horrors of war, both past and present. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Mystical Tales, so you won't miss out on more eerie and thrilling tales in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.